The session right now is to make sure that we can get great products. And the goal is to go from feedbacks to actually creating products that delight our customers. Okay? So right now we will talk about why is it important? Why do we make a difference between when we are talking about products and projects? What does it mean to actually create a product? How do you map and work around it? Okay, and hopefully you're gonna enjoy the session. So while they're preparing the computer, I would present myself a little bit. So I am Fanny Ndengue. I'm a Cameroonian, so I'm your neighbor. I'm a native French speaker, so pardon my French while I'll be doing the presentation. I'm a professional Scrum trainer with Scrum.org. Okay, so and I'm a professional Kanban trainer, right? So I can train also around Kanban, but also I'm in a mission to make sure that Agile and Scrum can be understood by people who are non-tech people, okay? Yes, my channel is mostly in French. I'm making sure that French content exists because we already have a lot of content in English. We don't have that much information and knowledge in French. So I took it as a mission to make sure that I was going to create the third French Scrum and Agile channel. They are not a lot. My dear friend here is very know that I'm looking at him to make sure he create the fourth one. We'll be talking about it, to make sure that people are able to learn more about this topic. So I am not important. Maybe one information that is that I live in Dubai, and I'm very happy to have flown here to Nigeria for the first time of my life. So I'm happy to have lived close, but it's the first time I'm actually crossing the border. So I want this session to be very interactive, which means that you'll be talking to each other. There will be some slides, but most of the time, we will grow collectively. I want you to tap in the energy and the knowledge of all the people here, because actually we deeply believe that knowledge is not found in one person, it's found in the diversity of your experience. And it doesn't matter if you're old, if you're young, if you're new, if you're already an experienced person. So it's very important to make sure that during this session, you talk to each other, you discuss about your experience, and then we grow collectively to our product. So we already went through this part, right, where I talked about the fact that I have adjectives, which is the knowledge hub that I want to create for the French speaker, the fact that I'm a pro Kanban trainer where we try to be excellent to each other, right? And that I'm a professional Scrum trainer with Scrum.org. Then what I want you to do is that I want you to group, okay? How comfortable do you feel self-organizing? Meaning, are you able to self-organize right now? No? Yes? So, I love this energy. So, right now we are going to go into, are you setting yourself or your company for failure? And we are going to talk around that topic, project mindset and product mindset. I want you to group in teams no more than 4 people, can be less, which is pretty fine. I will let you self-organize. And I want you to discuss in your group the difference between product mindset and project mindset. Okay? Is the exercise clear for everyone? You're gonna have 5 minutes. Yes, you're ready to start anytime you're ready. I just want you to know that you will have one representative in the team that's gonna talk about the findings. Everyone is good? Any questions before we go? No, then I love it. Go on and enjoy. Okay, perfect. Which team is going to come first to just present in 1 or 2 elements? Okay, you guys raise your hand first.
Hi everyone, my name is Olanike Bello. We're told to differentiate between project mindset and product mindset. So I'll go first with product mindset. So product mindset is having a portfolio approach. Whatever you're thinking of your customer, how you're going to deliver a good product to your customer. So as a product manager and a product owner, everything that comes to your head is, would my customer like this? I want to deliver value. Everything that has to do with product is value. Everything that has to do with product is being adaptable. But in project, I think the real summary of project mindset is it has to do with deadline. In project, you set a timeline that this is when we are going to finish. Even though at the end of the day you're not delivering value, you still have to finish at that set time. But in product, you don't bring deadline into product because it kills the whole purpose of it. The most important thing is you want to deliver value. That is for product. But for project mindset, everything that comes to your head is we are setting up a goal and we have to finish at that particular time. So it has to do with it has to do with deadline for project. But for product, it has to do with delivering value incrementally till you get the value you want, a working solution.
My name is Romoke. So, in summary, we just said a product is the what, and then a project is the how. And then we believe that a project could be a short term, while a product could be a long term, independent of if it's a product, if it's a tech, anything you're doing. So we see product as the what, and then we see the project as the how to achieve the what. Thank you.
Okay. So, any other points, or we are able to go? So, in your mind, did I ask you about the major difference between both of them? Why do you think it was valuable to answer that question first when we are talking about delighting our customer?
So for products, you're more customer focused on how you meet the needs of the customer, make the customer happy, as we discussed. For project, is more about satisfying your boss who gave you the deadline.
Okay, part of me love your answer, and part of me can say yes to it because we still need. I'm not against projects, right? What we want to make understand is that the aim of the projects can, as she mentioned, not bring any value. So what I wanted to... I'm sorry, I'm going to make you walk a lot. So what I wanted to emphasize here on this particular discussion is that you actually improve what you measure. Okay? So when you have a project mindset, what are you trying to improve? You want to make sure that all the, what we call our iron triangle is being met, right? We have it here. You want to make sure that your costs, okay? You want to make sure that your scope, and you want to make sure that I don't know how to draw that whatever it's supposed to be here, but you get it, it's the time, it's fixed, okay? So how do you measure success? You remember, what get measured, get improved. So what are your criteria? You want to make sure that we are staying within budget. You want to make sure that we are staying within scope, and you want to make sure that we are making sure that we are standing on our deadline. But can you believe that we can do all that and still not get any product of quality out there? We are talking about what? Why is it so important to talk about products? It's because survival is around delighting our customer, and how do we do that? By the products we give them. So it doesn't matter how your project looks. If there is no value to your customer, and so if you're not measuring it, you're not actually going to create great products. Okay, so now when you're trying to move to the product mindset, people believe that when we say that we want to move to the product mindset, we are only thinking about value. But value has a cost, right? We talked about it with Nigel a few minutes ago, right? How much am I going to have in terms of utilization, tools, maintenance, etc., all that has a cost. So when in a product mindset, even though, as you guys mentioned, I want to talk about value, okay, it's very good, but I also want to talk about ROI, okay? Because I can die before I can give any value to my customer. My resource might dry up. I may be so focused on my customer, but if I'm not able to be efficient in the way I'm trying to build this, it won't work. And yes, you talked about the fact that for me to be able to build the right product, I also have to talk to my customer, which is what we are going to talk about right now. Yes, I'm taking a lot of shortcuts on this topic between product mindset and project mindset, but I wanted to make sure that you understand that if you stay here, you won't survive. It doesn't mean destroy it. We still need to pay bills. It just means that if you're not focusing on delighting your customer, someone else will, and he will get that market. Okay? Another point that I usually say. So we all have mobile phones with apps and whatever. What do you do when the apps you're using doesn't work? Yes.
If it's not working, I delete the app, then look for another alternative.
Very good. And do you go back to see if they became better? You see? That's why it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're not focusing on creating value from the get-go, if you're not focusing on your customer, you won't be able to thrive, you won't be able to create products that they need. Okay? So, now, you are also going to go back into groups, and this time you can change the people you talk to. Yes, don't be lazy, stand up, move your body. It's also a gym session, and we are going to answer this question, right? Again, I will give you 4 minutes this time, a little bit less, because you needed a little bit of energy. Think of a product, a digital or physical, that you absolutely love or hate. What about it makes it so wonderful or so frustrating? With your team, you can choose one side or the other to not have mixed, you know? One goes with what I love, one goes with what I hate. In general, what was the value? What did you love about it, or what did you hate about it? Okay? Ready to go? Move! Okay? So, I will teach you a little game. People, back to me. I will teach you a little game that we do in usually Agile conference and Agile settings, which is when I raise my hand, you have to raise yours to prove your attention. Okay? So usually when you will see me raise my hand, that means raise your hand and come back to me. Okay? Thank you. So don't just come back to me. Raise your hand and come back to me. I know you guys. So let's try. Amazing. You guys are back with me. Okay? So let's go this way.
Okay, speaking to the lead exercise we had, we tilted towards something more within what we use every day. Everybody uses WhatsApp. Everybody uses WhatsApp. I'm sure everybody does that. So what makes WhatsApp stand out to you? Why do you use that for your day-to-day communication as against something like, say, Facebook? Facebook has been existing for years. We understand Facebook is a social media platform, yeah, all of that. But people don't particularly use Facebook for day-to-day conversations. Why? So as a team, we looked at what exactly speaks to us about WhatsApp that isn't exactly there on Facebook, and why we're tilting towards WhatsApp as against Facebook. We spoke about a few things, the privacy, security, sense of community you get to have on WhatsApp. It feels more, a team member said, feels more like a family, feels more homely, unlike Facebook that's open and out there and all of that. It's more public. And that is one thing that is making us like feel, okay, I think I'll stick to that. And someone else also said something in the team. He said, I feel because I've been using it, they've been there for long. And one funny thing about a answer, why I feel that is also very correct, although there is no wrong answer. Why I feel that is very correct is, yes, you've been using it all along and they've not flopped. Because if they have flopped, you would have dropped it. You've been using it all along from the start and you've not dropped it yet because they've been consistently delivering value. They've been moving with the trend of the current customers. They've been adjusting and modifying and all of that because they've not flopped. So that's basically it for us.
Yeah, so I think she said everything I wanted to say, so end of the discussion for today, goodbye. All we have to do is make sure you don't flop, right? No, more seriously, what is very important in what is being said is that, I don't know if you remember when we had, and I'm going to take her example on WhatsApp, when we had those WhatsApp shortage and everyone felt like their life went down. You couldn't contact half of the planet, etc. And what did all of you guys do? Yeah! You install any other person trying to do the same service, okay? Which means that you needed something, those guys were there. But did you stay on Telegram? No. Why? Because value is on WhatsApp. They are continuously trying to show you, improving, giving you answers on what is going to give them value. I can install Telegram and love it more than WhatsApp and still use WhatsApp because all my family is on WhatsApp. So there are a lot of things that come into what I'm going to use. But we are talking about what I love to use and not just what I use. So those are the products that if anything happened. So let me give a different example to come back to your point. That means that if you don't like WhatsApp, the moment WhatsApp is down, you're on the next good one, right? And yet, if you feel that with communicating with my people, with creating communities and etc., this is the place where I found the most answers to my question, that's where you go. That value might be different for everyone. I may want convenience. You may want speed. Another one, we want privacy. We are not saying that value is the same for everyone. That's why it's very important to niche yourself. Who am I serving? And how do I make sure I answer those people? Because the biggest mistake that people believe is that a product is supposed to serve everyone. It's not. You have a specific target, and if people outside of your target are using your product, good. But you have a specific persona that you want to use. Which brings us to the next part very swiftly, okay? So, imagine your CEO or client just said, we need a brand new customer satisfaction app right now, okay? And he said, go build it. What is going to happen? And you just have to go and build it, right? You don't have any alternative. He said, this is the new way to bring value to our customer. We need a customer app. And you are to go with your team and create that product. What is going to happen to the product you're going to create? How will it look like? How will it feel? If you don't know for whom you're building it, if no one made you any request and it's just your CEO who said he needed something, you have 100% chances you're not going to build the right product. Simple. But why am I taking that specific example? Because that's how product reach you. That's how projects reach you. You don't come and say, oh, we have identified a client who wants something. No. The boss comes and says, this is the new thing. I believe into it. Build it. And you're not, yes, but I don't, build it, and I want it by the end of the month. Okay? This is how we are working right now, and this is why we are having issues. Because one of the things that I didn't mention was user adoption. The problem is never creating a product. But how many are actually using it? And on the product you created, okay, you have 10 features. How many of these features are actually being used? We talked about waste of money, waste of resources, and etc. So what I want you to keep in mind right now is that the next time your boss, your CEO, is coming and saying, build this product, and you have your Gantt Excel slides and etc., know that you're setting yourself for failure right from the get-go. Why? Because you don't have someone to build it for. Okay? And that's why we want to talk about feedback. When you're trying to build a product, the first thing you want to do is, who am I building it for? And what did they say they needed? If I'm not talking to the one using it, what's the point? We can all guess, right? A lot of us right now have seen apps, banking apps, where they say, don't worry, now you can do everything. You touch it one time and you're like, this is not for me. Why? Because they didn't talk to you. They didn't ask you what you were actually going to do with it. They created the product because they knew that you found it convenient, right? So the idea is not wrong, but the right product is way more than about creating the right product. It's making sure that it serves the clients it's supposed to serve. So now we are going to go into our next exercise together, okay? So, up, this is the one. We are going to pick, you're going to pick in your team. I was going to select for you, but hey, why? Do it in your groups, okay? You are going to select a feature, loyalty program, online ordering, customer complaint, and I want you to tell me how would you build feedback for it, which means how would you know what to build? How are you going to decide what to build? You're in the beginning of your day. You have this magnificent idea. I need to create a customer complaint portal. How do I know what to build? You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Chibuzo. We are a bit torn in between building the system and gathering feedback afterwards, or gathering feedback before you build the system. So maybe I'll start with the first and also piggyback to the second. So for the first, we actually chose an online ordering system, of which we said if you have built it, how to gather feedback from our customers is basically, so you have a rating system, whereby if the customer gives you a 5-star rating, it's okay, so it's thumbs up for you. But a situation whereby a customer gives you a 1-star or 2-star, that's when we will now go and ask them for that. What's the reason for rating us at that, giving us 1 star, and get the feedback. While if we are gathering feedback to build the system, definitely it's through the use of surveys. So you try to survey each of the groups and know what they want, how they want the online ordering system to look like. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to that point that was very important. Should I test it first or should I ask them? Actually, you can do both, right? What is actually blocking you for actually trying what's going to work? The first thing that I want you to know is that people are always saying, oh, I cannot survey my customer before I create, then my product is going to come too late. Right? That's why half of the time we don't spend the time to analyze it. But we answered that question a few minutes ago. If you don't talk to your customer, 80% of chance of building the wrong product. Right? So what does it mean that you can do? What are the different ways that you want to work around it? Right? You want to do a little bit of discovery and customer insight. Discovery and customer insight can happen, okay? It can happen during interviews, okay? It can happen by creating a mock-up. There is something that we love, us IT people, is what we call our mock-ups. It's something that's not the real thing, but just looks like it, okay? So, and I talk to my customer, you know, it's not exactly the same thing, it's just slides, but if I go through it, how do you feel about the journey? It's not perfect. It's not exactly how they will feel. There is still margin of errors. But talking to your customer is still the best way to actually know what you're going to build. The second problem you have when you're trying to do this part is that you're trying to build something so big that actually you create the product when you said you were just going to do a little something to give to the customer. At the end of the day, you do it for 6 months, right? So no talking to your customer for 6 months, building something, and then you're surprised he doesn't like it. Okay? So no, there is no, depending on your environment, you have to think first about discovery and customer insight. That's why we want to talk about products right now. That's the first step. Before I start with my magnificent Gantt charts, deadline, correlation between team 1 and team 2, what information do I have about my customers? And that can come with surveys, okay? That comes with personas. When I talk about personas, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Right? Yes, yes. Persona, it's like I'm creating that person for whom I'm creating the product for. What does it look like? What does he like? Why is he coming to my application? You create that fictional persona. You even give it a name. It's even better when she's called Fanny. So you do that, and then you build your product around Fanny. And then what you do is that you identify a few Fanny that you keep very close in the developing moment. Hey, Fanny, I know that you love about that. You came to this conference, and I saw that you were interested in these apps. We are building something like that. Do you mind coming and getting close to us while we are building that? We deeply believe that it's going to help you. Okay? So I'm not going to deep dive, and a lot of people are going to do that in this, into how to get into your feedback, your persona, to be able to create the right products. But I want you to go out with the fact that always make sure your customer is the first thing you set in before you start your planning. Okay? And after that, you have done your discovery and customer insight, then you start talking about strategic alignment. Only then that you start saying, okay, how are we going to do that? Okay? What are the products we are talking about? Now that we have discussed with our customer, what did they say that they actually wanted? Okay? And then I start delivering it to them in small increments. You guys and I don't have the same definition of small increments. Half of the time, your small increment is an 8-month project thing. Right? No. Always try. What can I give to my customer right now that can bring him value? Yes, no, not all products can be done in 1 week. There are some architectural problems and stuff like that. But if you are not extremely clear on the fact that you are not creating a completely viable product, you are just creating a little bit of value to test your market, to have a direction. I usually say that when you're trying to build your product, and obviously other people wrote onto this, to have space. Okay. Oh, you see my PSTs? Oh my God! Amazing. I only have 1 page for the rest of the day. So, no, I'm joking. Oh, amazing. So, what you're trying to do is that when you're creating your product without feedback, you're creating something, but you're not actually sure that this guy, okay, this guy is going to love it. Okay? So chances are you will actually aim here, or you will aim here. Okay? But what do you actually want to do? You want to create something small, very small, that you're going to give to this guy. It doesn't matter how it is, and he's going to tell you yes or no. And then you will adjust your plan. Okay? He said he loves this one, and he said no to this one. And the investment you created in doing this is way smaller than whatever you would have done if you have tried to create the whole solution. So this can be as small as possible, because what you want is get out from chaos, lack of knowledge and visibility, to actually have a little bit of guidance on where you should be going. And so then you will continue to map your journey, because even here you can say, I didn't like it. Right? This is actually where I wanted to go. Okay? So that is why it's very important that you do this iterative delivery, because each time you're doing that, in short feedback loop, you're actually making sure that you're creating what brings the most value to your customer. Okay? And that is why if you don't talk to your customer, if you don't make sure they are included in the way you're building your product, you're not going to create product they will love. And so that comes back to the last thing that I was saying. You have to measure and you have to continue to learn. We talked about user adoption, okay? How many of them are actually using your product, and how much of the product are they actually using? I don't know if actually it's actually supposed to be used like that, but how much of it is being used and etc. Okay? You have to measure all that to be able to know, am I building the right thing for the right customer? And that's how you can survive. So we talked about the discovery phase. You want to do customer interviews, surveys, user observation, right? You have a product. Go there in a store and see, like Nigel said, how are they doing it, right? You'll be so surprised. I saw a video that I really love. I don't know if you guys know kids' Lego box, okay? Some kids' Lego box have kind of holes for the shapes, right? And so the guy he took the square and put it in the square. Perfect. Then he took the triangle, and then he was like, actually he put it in the square again and not in the triangle system. And the guy was like, what the F? There's a triangle here. Why is he putting it on the square? You have to see that to know how your person is going to use that. So everything he created, because the shape could fit on the square, it didn't matter all the features, all the nice rectangle, etc. The kid literally took all of them and put them on the square. Round shape, triangle shape, etc. The size was good enough, he just put it in the square. So you have to observe the people that are using your product so that you actually know what they are going to do. Okay? We talked about personal building. Okay? So you want to know very clearly by doing that what is the problem they are having and that they are trying to solve. Right? Because that's what your product is doing, solving a problem that they are facing, or a need, or an unidentified need, but we'll talk about that in another life, okay? That's what you want to do. And so, what are you guys usually saying? I don't know who my customers are. I don't even know how close they are. There is no link between me and them, okay? And why should I change my ways? We have been doing that for the last 100 years, and obviously, it worked very well. Okay, which is why you are trying to change things, right? And so you're using also poor feedback channels. Okay, so it is very important to understand that the problem is not that you have difficulties, it's how invested are you in solving them, because if you don't solve, you will die. It's pretty simple. What I mean by that is that most of the companies right now are less than 50 years for the majority of those who are making a big impact. Before, all those companies were 100, 150, 200 years. Now, the GAFA, how old are they? 50, 25 for some, 30? And even today, they understand that disruption can put them out of work. So it's very important in building your product that you always think about being relevant, and being relevant means talking to your customer. And they're telling me to rush, but I have 10 slides. So more seriously about that. We talked about all these elements, right? Strategic alignment. You want to make sure that you are creating your OKRs. Why am I talking about OKRs? It's about what, and Nigel talked about it a few minutes ago, so I can speed it up. Hey, you want to make sure that your objectives have key results, measurable key results, so that you know that we are actually going into the right direction. Okay? And why do you want to do that? Is to create focus, eliminate hands-off, and you want to have end-to-end ownership of the product that you're trying to build. Okay? So one example would be, if the top user complaint is complicated payment flow, then an OKR would be reduce checkout abandonment from 50% to 20% within the next quarter Why does it matter? Because your objectives are customer-centric. Okay? They are not just make sure that the budget is 2,000 and that we are very happy with the scope that we are doing. Okay? Speeding up, speeding up. And this is what Nigels love. Push and pull system, because all of us are actually working in a push system, and even most of the people claiming to work in the pull system. You have to start changing. Push system is we keep building everything the boss or the client thinks we need. What we want you to do is, let's build what the client needs. It comes from the demand. It's an oversimplification, I give you that, but that's the idea that you want to do. Do I have bandwidth? Do I have space? Was there a need? What we don't want you to do is create a backlog full of things that no one has asked for, and then you're pushing it into the system, it's getting cluttered, it's not optimized, and then the client actually doesn't want it. If the client say, hey, I like this thing, and you create it for him, you adapt just in time of what he has actually asked. So try in your project to start thinking with need first and not project first or product first. What is the need? Make sure I center around that. I deliver iteratively, and we don't have time for this. So what do you want to track? Adoption rates, conversion, customer satisfaction, and we want to validate, adjust, iterate. I want to do A/B testing. I want to see the change. I want to measure what I am doing with my product, okay? So these are all the steps that you will need to be able to work with the flow, because this was the goal of this. I wanted to draft for you a flow on how to build your product. And this is the flow that you want to map. You have a column, discovery and customer insight, where you have all your tasks. Then with those, you move on to making sure that you can plan strategically around them. What do I prioritize? What do I order? We like this more now, order in Scrum, right? We don't prioritize. Everything is priority. We all know that. But one still has to go, right, before two. So order, okay? Make sure it's important. Deliver, measure, try again, PDCA. Talked about it, okay? So thank you, everyone. I hoped it was interesting and that you had a blast in this short session. So I had a tremendous session. People were motivated, they were participating, they were engaging. There was a real demand for knowledge, for understanding, and also for solutions. And that's what you will find in this conference. Everyone is very open to challenges, open to discussion. Us as speakers don't even agree to each other, and it's shown in our participation. And everyone was very happy to be in such an open space where you can get all this diversity of experience, diversity of knowledge, diversity of people. It has been very, very interesting, instructive, and insightful for me as a speaker, but also for the people who have come over here.